the root. As God releases His word on Saul through the prophet, the word is you are to utterly destroy. Now I want you to look in your text at the words utterly destroyed. This is a Hebrew word. It comes from one word that literally means to bring extinction to eliminate. Now, how many of you, if you ever had a bug problem in your house, let me be a little bit more offensive than that. You have a rodent problem in your house. And the exterminator comes and you bring the exterminator into your house. And the exterminator says, you're going to pay me for the work I'm about to do. And you say, okay. And then the exterminator says to you, but the reality is I'm not going to get rid of all your problems. I'm just going to get rid of some of them. And you say, well, that's good enough. I don't want to live with 100 rodents in my house, but I'm willing to keep 27 of them. And you all agree with me, right? You're willing to keep 27 of them. No. You're just willing to get rid of the ones you can see, but it's okay to keep the ones that you do see. My wife and I, when we first married, we moved into a rental property here in Hopewell when I came back from Emmanuel. And we weren't out there long until we started having rodent issues. When we called an exterminator, and he said, this house sat vacant for about 2 years. You've got major problems underneath your house. You've got an infestation underneath. So you're going to have to move out of your house for a week. And I said, we can't move out. Where are we going? We don't have any place to go for a week. We had to move out for a week. Why? Because we had to make a decision. Do you want to get rid of what you can't see? Or are you willing to live with what you don't see, knowing that inevitably what you don't see will start moving into the places you do see? We moved out for a week. I mean, we would quit moving out for a week. Why is it you are more concerned about a rodent in your house than you are with a principality in your life? All a principality is a principle working. When you encounter a principality, you are coming against a principle. And the only way to overcome a principle is to introduce it to a principle greater than it is.
Wow.
And so when we give you the opportunity to bring your offering, we are in your tithe. This is not just so the church can pay its bills. This is about you introducing to the principle of lack a principle of increase. So the word that the builder heard was you're going to have to bring to extinction. In other words, you're going to have to get rid of all of it. Yeah. And that was, and ethically, I'll be honest with you, the 15th chapter is tough for me. Because you deal with women and children and everything. And I know there's an issue. I know we have you like I do, we're still thinking people, we think, well, that's a little harsh. But watch this. God said everything attached to flesh, everything is going to have to be dealt with. Because if you let something remain, it'll remain. Yeah. So what does Saul do? Saul goes in, and what does he do? Instead of doing what God said, he says, I'm going to keep Agag alive. I'm going to utterly destroy everything but the roots. Now, we are programmed to come to church and we say, no, pastor or elder, pray for me. And we want prayer for everything except the root, because we don't want to talk about the roots. Go to the doctor, we want to know what's wrong with us, or we tell them everything except the root. Why is it such an issue to confront the root? Because the root is the thing that has the hold on us. The root is the king that has moved into our territory, that has been exercising dominion over us. And the king on the other side isn't so willingly ready to hand back over territory. So the principal party of your opposition came in to take over. And he's not going to leave without a fight. And so we just say, well, just pray for me, because honestly. Where somewhere in our lives, we need to sit down, if we don't yet know what our root problem is. And so we have people that are more qualified than I am to help identify root issues. I went to a counselor really only one time, a professional counselor only one time in my life. And he said, I want to diagnose you. I said, okay, diagnose me. He says, you've got abandonment issues. I said, really? I said, well, how do you know that? He says, because when your parents died, both rather unexpectedly at an early age, it affected your life. And he may be right. And it was very enlightening to hear somebody who really didn't know me deal with a part of my life I didn't want him dealing with. Matter of fact, I became mad, I became agitated, offended. That gentleman is now the president of Emmanuel College. When he was counseling me, he was a counselor there in Franklin Springs, Georgia.